Hey guys, and welcome to the fourth podcast, Sanctuary Cast, the League of Legends podcast for Southeast Asia. I am your host Sudo, and joining me today we have two new guests who have never made an appearance on the show before. One of them is a pro player from the Malaysian side, KL Hunters, and he is none other than Donmuri. And joining me as well in this podcast today is Danielle. I will talk about Daniel a little bit later and about his story, but since Don, you're currently with us right now, could you give us a brief description of who you are and who you are in the community?
Basically, I've been playing the game for a long time, and I was in a couple of teams before I joined KLH. The biggest one was I was in the team ESP. If you guys know, ESP was one of the top teams in COD, Call of Duty game. They were quite big, made it international. So we managed to form a team under the clan COD, but we didn't really do well. Then I got picked up by KLH. Yeah.
Okay, and you are currently in GPL, so all the best for that, and we will actually touch on that a little bit later. But before that, Danielle, also known as Dan, even though the name Danielle is kind of a female name, I was assured that he in fact was male. He hasn't said a word yet, so Dan, care to say hello and so that we can find out if you're in fact male?
Yo, what's up? So basically, I'm not really that experienced in any of the games. And as for your question, I would say that, yeah, like what the jokes that I've been having in the clan chat and whatsoever. Previously, I was a female, and then after that, I went undergone plastic surgery, a sex reassignment surgery, and decided to be a male. And right now, yeah, I'm pretty much a male, as far as I can recall. And Daniel is actually a unisex name. It's not really just a female's name.
Okay. So you were female, now you're male? Okay,
Yep.
well, you're my first transsexual guest on this show.
That
On
was supposed to
episode
be
4,
a
we have
joke, yeah. That was supposed to be a joke.
I don't know whether people got it as a joke or not, but oh well. This will certainly make things very interesting, but thank you for coming on the show now. In this week, we will be talking about, we'll rather be focusing about Garena Premier League, sorry about that, as well as Donmuri's experience in it and KL Hunters and the pro scene in general around Southeast Asia. And to see how is it upcoming, we will also touch upon the multiple shifts in the NA servers. And last but not least, the build-up to Garena's first year anniversary and what can we actually expect from that. So jumping into the first topic itself here today is the pro scene in Malaysia. So Don, how exactly did you get selected to be part of KL Hunters?
Well, I've been playing competitively for I guess almost a year, and although I didn't manage to join any top teams, but by keeping your attitude in check, being nice to the GM, they sort of scouted me out and they did an interview on everyone, and yeah, they picked the best players of all the top teams in Malaysia.
Okay. And how long ago actually were you scouted so that people get a feel of how long you have been playing and how long does the whole process take to be a part of a pro team?
I was called by Garena around January, and the team was officially formed, I think, just before GPL opening, which is around April. So during the process, there was quite a number of interviews and just to check whether we can commit fully to the job.
Yeah, and I mean, with committing fully to the job, as you had mentioned, it also comes with payment now. I mean, that's what pretty much Garena has been saying so many times, that all the teams that are playing in the Garena Premier League are all paid for. So how does it feel like, being a pro player that gets paid to do what you love, to play games?
It's great. I mean, I can say almost every guy's dream to just play a game all day long. And on top of that, you get paid for it. But it comes with a pressure because not only you have to play for represent the company, you have to do well in tournaments. And KL Hunters not really performing well right now, and it's putting a lot of pressure on everyone of us because right now GPL's first week, we already lost 2 games, and tonight we have another game with BKT, and we have to show everyone that we are fully prepared and that we have done our practice for the rest of GPL.
Okay, so coming back to like the whole selection process, what would your advice be to other Malaysians or other country nationals who are currently listening to how would they get selected? So, any advice for them?
The one thing that I can say is you have to be nice to everyone. Like when you play in games, you don't BM here and there because your attitude matters when it comes to selection. Even though you're a very very good player, but you BM everyone here and there, you talk trash to everyone, they won't select you because you're gonna represent Garena and your image is very important.
I mean, aside being polite, not BMing people, having a good etiquette, like you talked about getting to know the Garena staff and things like that. Does a player really need to be very skilled to get selected, or is it something that can be trained?
I must say that you have to be at a certain point of skill to get scouted at least because that's why because right now you can see in Malaysia especially the competitive scene is not as strong as before. I'm not too sure why, but then like if you really want to get scouted or prove to the Garena or prove to everyone that you have the skill, that you want to join the team, you have to join more tournaments. You have to show to everyone that I have the potential, and but when you don't join tournament, you cannot expect people to see your skills, to see your potential.
So there you have it. You need to be nice, you need to know people, and you need to actually be seen in the scene. So you need to actually participate in tournaments. It doesn't matter how well you do there, but people need to see you out there in tournaments. So for those of you who are listening who want to know how to get there, you just heard it itself from the player that was selected to be in a pro team itself. Now, going to KL Hunters, before I go to you, Don, then when you heard KL Hunters seeing that this is really weird, we're all Malaysians again. Somehow every week in my podcast, we either have all Singaporeans or all Malaysians. And it has been alternating week by week. So apparently now it's all Malaysians again. So Dan is Malaysian and so is Don. Dan, when you first heard of KL Hunters being the Malaysian team out there, what was your first impression of the team?
I would say that whether they experienced enough in this game, but after looking at their so-called resume, I would say that they are pretty much very very experienced in this game. Most of them have like the experience of 1.5 years, 1.5 years playing League of Legends already. And skill-wise, I have encountered only Dawn, which previously we have played before against each other. And that time he was actually playing jungler, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And he was pretty much very very good in ganking and stuff like that. And he made full use of Shaco because Shaco was not allowed in ranked games, so he was actually bullying all of us by using Shaco. In normal games, of course.
Well, pop stomping. Okay, so what do you think of their what's the word I'm looking for here? Words seem to escape me. What do you think of their progress so far in week 1 of GPL? Do you think that they underperformed, or that it was just like the draw of the luck that they faced up with these people, their competitors along the way?
I would say that they were pretty much like, I think, too stressed out because of the competition and stuff like that, and the stresses from the company and from each other. I would say it's due to stresses.
Okay. So Dawn, do you think that stress was a really big factor in your performance for week 1, and now that it's coming to week 2, what difference is there from like the internal side of KL Hunters?
Yeah, I would agree that stress was really a big factor because there's a lot of pressure. You need to basically win to show to the company, to show to Garena that you are that player that, how to say, you belong to the KL Hunters or a professional team that are paid compared to, I mean, when compared to TPA and SGS, they've all been doing well, but KL Hunters not so good right now. But actually this morning we had a very good discussion, and we are changing certain schedules and things that we do around the office, and hopefully we'll improve our team, and we will prove it in tournaments in GPL especially.
Okay, so cool. So what would be your prediction for the upcoming match, which is like really soon, against Bangkok Titans? Yeah.
Yeah. So from what I've seen from the scrims that we had, I do believe we have the confidence to beat them. But anything can happen, and it's one game per day, I guess. So anything can happen. So hopefully we'll do well.
In the side of the GPL that's currently going on, now that they've moved into week 2, do you think as if the Taipei Assassins and Singapore Sentinels are in a league of their own and they will continue to dominate, or will they? Is there some other team that can come up there and so-called make their record be broken in that sort of sense?
Well, you can say that during the first few weeks, of course, SGS and TPA will dominate the tournament because they have the experience, they have the knowledge. They've been playing together for a very, very long time. And if you compare to other teams, they are quite new playing with each other, even though they are high elo players or been playing the games for a very, very long time. But when you play in a team game, play in a tournament, it's very different kind of mindset you need to have. And I mean, if you go to tournament with a solo queue mindset, you're not gonna win the tournament. You're not gonna do well. So, but then if hopefully in the future as teams, every team learn each other's strategy, they will improve, and you will see more interesting games from each of the teams.
Okay. So, on the side of KL Hunters, because I don't know whether you know about the other teams or the other training schedules and things like that, but could you just give us a brief description of, in 1 week, like how many hours does the team actually put into playing together or theory crafting and things like that, so people get an idea of how the pro players actually spend their time and things of that sort?
Usually during the morning we'll do solo queue, or we have to go to gyms, and then after lunch we have a strategy discussion, like theory crafting and trying out new stuff. And then during the night we usually do the rank 5v5 in Taiwan, or we find screen with other teams.
Okay, and this is done like every day?
Yeah, every day.
Wow. So that's every day you have the schedule of playing and theory crafting and things like that. So there you have it. For everybody else who is listening to this and wondering what does it actually take to be a pro team, there you have it. Day in, day out training, and I'm very sure that many of the other teams as well are following something similar to this itself. With going back to Garena Premier League once again, I know I've touched about this so many times. The opening, I wouldn't say show, the opening showcase rather, where you guys all had traveled up there. Tell us your perspective of how things went about there, because we have read the write-ups about, we knew what happened there, we saw the live stream of the performances and things like that, but as a player who went up there, how was it for you guys?
It was great. I mean, it was my first event, like a very, very huge event, and Garena did a very good job, especially the Taiwan side. The opening is, if you didn't go there, can't really explain, because their performance and like showcases with the showcase match between CG and TT, and it was on par with the Korean OGN tournament. If you've been watching the Korean OGN, the Champions tournament, it was on par like that. And this is just the opening, so you can imagine the finals of the GPL, how it's gonna be like, everything.
So, what else would you like to see? Like, you did mention that the opening ceremony was good and things like that. So for the closing ceremony, what do you expect to see that would, be really grand or really good so that, hopefully Garena can pick it up and maybe it might happen?
The only thing I can complain about was during the opening, the Malaysian flag was a bit smaller than the other flags. I'm not too sure why. If you see the pictures, the Malaysian flag was just a tad bit smaller than the others. So I hope they get a better flag for Malaysia for the finals. But as long as they keep up the good work, they manage to. Hopefully, they can be as good as the Korean the Champions tournament. And yeah, I'm not too sure what they're gonna do for the finals, but it should be a very, very good event for everyone.
Dan, I believe you had watched the opening ceremony as well. What did you think about it? Well, we apparently seem to have lost Dan, so not to worry about that. Something happened to Dan along the way. Well, let me tell you my perspective for what I saw and things like that. There, I thought it was really well organized. In the sense that they had set up booths and things like that. I was talking to Jehuti just before the opening ceremony itself. And he was saying that he was really proud that over on the Taiwan side there, they had built soundproof booths and the stage was well done and things of that sort. So I thought it was a really good step ahead for Garena. And if the opening ceremony I thought was really good, I can't wait for the closing ceremony because I'm pretty sure they would top off the opening ceremony. Or even if it is right on par with it, I still think it would be a good show just for the first, open sort of competition itself among the things. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to see what else to do. Like aside Garena Premier League, will there be other sort of tournaments and competitions coming up along the way itself?
I do believe there's the season 2 qualifier.
Yeah, but that's not really Garena, right? That's more of Riot's side. We have the Asian qualifiers. Yeah.
For other Garena side, I'm not too sure, or maybe that one is between the GM, so we as the players we don't really know. Yeah, except for the GPL.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, we kind of finished the first topic, which was the pro scene itself, and we got to know a bit of insight from Donmuri itself. I actually want to talk about the new champion that's going to come out pretty soon, which is Darius. What do you think about Darius? To me, I don't know. He looks like Sion had a baby with Garen. Or Garen lost his sword and decided to pick up an axe. Yeah. What do you think about I've noticed recently Riot has been putting a lot of or they seem to like a lot of stacking abilities from Varus and things like that. They always have these on-hit effects where you can stack up some sort of thing where it explodes or it deals some sort of damage towards the end. What do you think about those sort of mechanics in the game itself?
I believe that they are trying to push the activeness of the laning or jungling, because when you have this kind of stacks, you don't really want to shoot one time and go back. You want to keep stacking. So it sort of forces you to play more aggressive, and in that sense, the game will be more interesting to watch, I guess.
But okay, you mentioned about the game becoming more aggressive and the laning phase is kind of passive. Do you agree that the laning phase is actually passive? I don't know, I'm not a pro player, so. No, I mean, do you believe that the laning phase is passive or that it needs continuous improvement to have more aggressive skills and things of that sort?
I think the current game right now is pretty good. I mean, it's not too aggressive, it's not too passive, although it still depends on the team, what they're gonna do. You can see M5 and other teams, they always try to play very, very aggressive to dominate early game, and then the enemy team can't really come back from that because they are so pushed, they are so under-farmed because of that early aggression. But you can see other teams also, they just like to farm. But then the current meta game right now is basically it's very aggressive. If you don't capitalize on that early aggression, that opportunity that you have, you won't do well in the game, in my opinion.
Dan, are you back?
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize that my mic was muted the whole entire time. I was basically talking to myself the whole entire time.
Why am
Well,
I not
back to
surprised?
the topic of there's the new champion coming out. I would say that it's pretty much like I can't really wait for it to be released. Sorry. And I would say that the skill wise, it's something similar to I would say something similar to Lulu due to the AOE damages and stuff like that.
Interesting. You compared Darius to Lulu. Yeah, I actually never actually looked at it in that sort of way. Talking about Lulu, Donmuri's favorite in the write-up, his favorite champion was Lulu.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? Do you kind of agree with Dan that Darius kind of looks like Lulu in the skill wise?
I'm not really sure. I think if you want to compare Darius, you should compare with Garen, which is another bruiser. I'm not really sure why you compare Darius with Lulu.
Due to the AOE damages and stuff like that. It's the only difference is that Darius it's more of a range hero. A melee hero, and then Lulu it's more of a range hero. That's the only difference. But the skill wise, basically it's all I would say AOE.
How is Lulu AoE? Only her glitter lens is like range. Everything else it's like shields or polymorphs. Maybe except for her ulti, it has a knockback. Well, I don't know. So for the for the viewers out there, if you think Darius actually does resemble Lulu in a sense of skill wise, do let us know and see whether you agree with Dan, or if you're really unsure and you don't think so, Dan, is try to let us know as well. We can finally either get to see whether Dan has something actually there or doesn't actually have something there. So sorry about that. I just needed to cough for a while. Yes. So with the new champion that's coming out, there we also see that finally Athene's Unholy Grail will be coming really soon. As a support player, I know we have touched about Athene's Unholy Grail in the past. How do you think? How viable is this item? To be honest, like, do you think people will actually start building Chalice of Harmony, or will it be one of these forgotten items along the way?
I think champions like Anivia, those that usually build Chalice will of course build this new item because it really helps them going into late game, meaning they don't need to sell that Chalice, they can upgrade it into another item. But for support, I don't think any support would buy it unless they are very, very fair, because support you just need your 2 GP5 and wards. If you don't have wards, you're not gonna win your game for the team.
But if let's say you're saying that support is just going for wards and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Is it possible that support can go for damages as well?
I mean, if you're very fat, let's say you play the game is prolonged until 1 hour, then yeah, you can go for whatever you want. But during the early game, you're the only one who's making go without actually farming, so you have to help your team ward the jungle, avoid ganks and everything. So if you use your gold to buy a more offensive items, I don't think you will actually do well unless you play Discrank or Leona, which is very, very aggressive support. But for like Soraka and Sona, I mean, you're just there to take care of your AD.
Okay, like you talked about. Sorry, but go ahead, Dan.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking like, what if some support like Soraka and Janna, they can be aggressive support as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know, to build. I mean, for me now, because I haven't really tried the item yet, but because it's too expensive to buy, like let's say the first half an hour of the game when you really need to buy wards for your team. That's just my opinion.
Like when I mentioned about like how do you think like the item actually stack up in game, like of course I'm very sure that heroes like Galio and Aniva who naturally build Chalice of Harmony would definitely want to upgrade it. But do you think like this, the chalice will actually be picked up by other champions? I don't know. For instance, Twisted Fate, or any other champion that relies on mana. Do you think they will actually start building this item as well, or they will actually be left out of their core?
I think it depends on what the pro players like BFGG, those very, very strong mid players, if they start buying those items, you will definitely see, especially in our server, you definitely see more and more players try the item when it comes to our server. But when you mention Twisted Fate, I don't really think Twisted Fate need that mana as he have his blue card.
People who don't know how to manage their blue cards.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've come across so many Twisted Fates who can't use blue cards. They keep missing the blue cards and getting other colored cards along the way.
From the notes or from the chat post that I saw, everyone keeps saying that the item is too OP, but I don't see anyone buying it in tournaments, right? Maybe because tournaments realm is not updated, so not really too sure.
But if I'm not mistaken, it had just been released only in NA and we haven't even gotten it over here itself. So I'm guessing in a matter of maybe a few weeks time, we will actually see whether the pro players have really start picking it up or not. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure Skara, and when he plays Karthus, I'm quite sure he will actually pick up Chalice of Harmony, and that's, continuously open. What's the AoE skill he has?
The Defile, I think.
Yeah, Defile, yeah. I'm pretty sure like with that continuously on, like he'll become even more scary as like Suicide Bomber. The Revive Teleport will become even stronger itself.
Yeah. It does provide a lot of magic resist.
Yes, exactly. It does provide a lot of magic resist. It does provide your mana regen and mana itself. So I don't know. Overall, it seems like a really good item. I don't know how well it's actually going to be put in games itself, but that should be pretty interesting. Any other interesting things from the new patch notes? The graphics update. What do you think about the graphics update, Dan? It looks like Dan has muted his mic again. Dawn.
Wait, sorry.
What do you think of the new?
The new patch, based on the graphic wise.
Yeah, I mean they changed the layout of the floor plan and things like that. So what do you think about all of that?
I think it's a good improvement.
They also did mention that they're trying to get better FPS for better players and things like that, where it's not so laggy. The graphics update, Dawn, as a pro player, does it actually make any sort of difference to you?
It does when you've been playing for the game for a long time. I don't know. I'm looking forward for the new graphic update because it feels like you're playing a new game. But it does look a bit like Dota 2.
Interesting that you actually mentioned it kind of looks like Dota 2 just because of the brick sizes that have increased. Yeah. Overall, yeah, I can see that there's some similarities that's being actually carried over onto the other side. What I'm actually skeptical about is actually the optimization of the frame rate itself. I don't know how smooth actually it's going to be in the end. What's your predictions? Do you think like there's going to be any sort of significant updates or significant changes to your FPS rates?
Yeah, I saw a lot
or
of
is it going to be like 5 FPS rates increase?
Yeah, I saw a lot of people post in Reddits and NA forums that they get better frame rates after the graphic update. So like almost double. So yeah, that's good.
Wow, interesting. I don't know. I don't know whether my frame rates can double or not. I'm currently normally playing about 100. I don't know whether it will jump to 200, but how much does frame rates actually, affect like a pro player playing in tournaments and things like that?
If you have around like 30 frame rate, of course it will affect you in a large way because you're gonna miss your skill shot, you're gonna miss your smite because your frame rate will affect how fast you press the button and how fast the button actually I guess the system reads whatever you're doing. So when they say the graphic update will improve the frame rate, yeah, it will help everyone, not just the pro players.
Okay, so when you practice, what's your normal frame rate like?
60, I think. Not too sure. I never really checked.
Okay, so your
Around
benchmark is
age.
your benchmark is 60.
Yeah.
So definitely enough. So 60 is good enough for you. Okay, sure, no worries about that. And actually, this is actually going to be a pretty short podcast because we are actually reaching one of our last topics itself. With the new map itself, we actually have an Easter egg. I'm not sure if you guys have actually seen it itself, but we will be posting the link down below to see the Easter egg there. For the life of us, what we talked about just slightly before the podcast, we have no idea what exactly it looks like. Don, you did mention that it looked like the shopkeeper's dog.
Very, very ugly
um,
dog.
to me, I have no idea what is it. Do you think it's one of these Easter eggs where that could be a new champion that's going to come out along the way, or a champion that had died off like Earth, the humanity that was there before?
No, I hope so. No, because it's really, really ugly. I mean, yeah, you should just stay there. Not another champion, please.
I mean, so far on this, the champions had either been very humanoid in nature, with I believe only Aniva. All of a sudden, it seems like a plane was crashing down right next to me. But yeah, like I was saying, like before this, it always had been like pretty much humanoid and things like that, where or animalistic in nature. With I believe Warwick being the most animalistic. And this doesn't look very humanoid. This pretty much looks like a dog itself. There, do you? I don't think so. Riot's going to take that option and actually go to that side. But I'm guessing it's going to be pretty interesting if it does come out to be a hero itself.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
I
it
don't know.
references to something, but no one figured it out yet. Maybe we should ask Riot.
Well, if anybody has any clue as to what is it about, even I've been following on Reddit and trying to find out if it is something up there, but we haven't seen anything on Reddit as well. But I guess only time will tell and see what Riot comes up with. Based on its collars and like its mounting there, it sure looks as if someone's going to be riding it, just like Sejuani was riding on her pig.
Yeah.
Let's see. Even as a riding creature, I don't think so. There's going to be someone, or this could be really hilarious, and possibly this is the new Sejuani skin or the Sejuani rider. The pig all of a sudden grew hair.
Shall see.
There's somebody who actually just messaged me and said that, oh my god, is it a new Nunu skin?
Wow, Nunu has so much skin right now. So, too many. Same like
I highly doubt this will be the new Nunu skin. That clearly doesn't look like the abominable snowman that's coming out there. But not to worry about it. Dan, you're pretty much good into graphics and things like that. Don said this dog slash whatever creature looks ugly. Do you think it actually looks ugly?
It doesn't really look ugly. To me, I would say it looks like a hog, a bear.
Okay. A bear. It's actually quite hilarious to see that.
It does look like
Or
a
it's just
four-legged Wookiee.
Yeah, like what I was saying, it actually does look really hilarious that Sinch and Tryndamere look so much bigger than it itself. Even if they were to ride it, I don't know if anybody could. It looks kind of more like a pet in that sort of sense. Do you think this could be, I don't know, Beastmaster from Dota and having a champion that can select animals out? Do you think that could possibly be it?
Yeah, I do hope Riot introduce a new, like a pet champion, because that's what we all were hoping for when Yorick came out, but it's not really a pet. You just, I mean, not like a minions, you just summon and they just go away. Maybe something more like any Steamer, but a permanent pet.
Do you think that would be a little OP that you have like pets and then you have like two people surrounding?
Yeah, true. So because you're gonna have a 6v5 match, but I think Riot can balance it out.
6v5, interesting. And then like if both teams have it, it'd be a 6v6 in a normal match. That'd be quite hilarious. And if you have, for instance, Mordekaiser on your team, then it's a 7v5. You have Yorick, then it's 8v5.
Yeah, it'll be too much to handle.
There'll be so many champions surrounding everywhere, and each of them can have buffs. Yeah, so okay, we're going to be moving on to our final topic. I do apologize in this podcast. There's been so many disturbances along the way, and there has been so many technical issues with people dropping in and out of calls, Dan and myself included around there. But nonetheless, we will make it up in the next podcast, covering more topics where it's a bit clearer to listen to. The final topic is actually Garena's 1 year anniversary, and how is it like going to be there. Now, we do see the T-shirt winners already being announced itself, with the winner having a really badass Scion T-shirt itself there. I mean, hats off to you guys, Captain. It's really, really good, I think. And I would actually be really proud to wear that T-shirt itself. So I hope people can actually... I hope Garena itself would give me a free T-shirt. If you're listening to me, give me a free T-shirt, please. But that's really good. Even the first runner-up and the second runner-up, where Mundo goes where he pleases, I thought that was another really interesting thing, where it's from in-game content itself, and pretty much only League of Legends players would actually recognize and know what is it about. So it could be something else there. The second runner-up with Lee Sin kicking a minion. I thought that was...
I really like that one.
That was really hilarious, yes. The final dragon kick from Lee Sin is used on a minion. Whether a misclick or not, God only knows. But I thought it was really cute in that sort of sense, with all three of the T-shirts showing different sort of elements in there. One very graphic looking, one very word art type, and another one being very anime-ish sort of way, chibi around there. So hats off to all you guys winners out there. I'm very excited to see the T-shirts being printed out and given by Garena itself. And for the first year anniversary that's coming up itself, we see that they will be giving away Judgment Kale. There's also surprise party fiddlesticks coming in. Are you actually excited for those sort of things, Don and Dan?
The fiddlestick skin is already out.
Yeah.
You can actually buy in the store. But I mean, sadly, no one actually plays Fiddlestick anymore, except just to try out for the skins.
Well, I'm pretty sure Fiddlesticks will kind of make a comeback along the way, or if not, people will be using him, in normal games, or to play among their friends.
M5 had tried using him and use it as a support, and they did win TSM Evo, TSM NA, I believe, with a Fiddlestick.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, I mean, as a support player yourself, do you think you will be trying out Fiddlesticks?
Not in anytime soon, because for now we have to focus on the champions that we are strong at and try new strategies. I don't think we can bring another, try new champions or try new strategy in the mix. But maybe in the future, who knows?
Dan, do you think you will be buying the Fiddlesticks skin?
No, because I've just bought a very expensive skin, which is the legendary Galio.
Oh, the Gatekeeper Galio.
That skin, it's so expensive.
655 RP, right?
Yep. But that was only for a day, I think.
Well, I mean,
it's 655, but for every day, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. We did talk about Gatekeeper Galio in our previous episodes about it. So if anybody's listening to it, we actually do mention what we think about it and things of that sort. What skin I'm actually looking forward to is the Blackthorn Morgana. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not out yet. Or
no, it's not.
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to that skin.
I don't think it's even out on NA yet.
Yeah, I think I guess it's only a matter of time within maybe the next 2 updates or so. So within the next couple of weeks, it should be out. It's there. Even like the remake to the Pulsefire Ezreal skin should be coming out relatively soon itself. With the particles updated there. I do know a lot of people have been asking where's the Pulsefire Ezreal skin, because I do actually have it, even though I hardly play Ezreal. I actually do use it, and when I use it, people's wondering like how do I get it. So so you guys know, Riot is reworking the particles of it, and it's going to take some time to come out, because even like the Varus patch itself, they did say that from now onwards they would be introducing maybe not 2 skins, maybe 1 skin, so that they can come up with higher quality skins. So that's something I'm really looking forward to see what Riot's actually going to do itself. I don't know if the prices were actually going to be increased, because if they are going to be releasing higher quality skins, I hope they don't. I really hope they don't. I hope the prices stay as they are, or it actually does becomes cheaper. But yeah. So we shall see how exactly that goes. Looking forward to new skins. Which hero would you like to see skins come out?
No particular heroes, but I wish that they do more skins that reference to other stuff, like maybe movies or anime. That'd be funny to use in games.
That's an interesting idea. You know what I want to have? I want to have Man in Black Graves. So he wears a
Yeah,
suit and he carries that big ass silver gun. I think that would look really, really awesome. Right? If you're listening to this, make a Man in Black Graves. I would so buy that.
interesting.
Um, yeah, I mean, there's so many characters that actually can pull off multiple things. For instance, having a green arrow Varus would be pretty interesting. Um, yeah, okay. I just actually got a note from someone up here, and they asked me to mention something along the way, which has actually I totally forgot along the way. Which is that with all the shuffles from the teams, we see on the NA side with CLG being moving over and Sandvicious joining Curse and things of that sort. Wow! All of a sudden, I have a cat next to me. That was creepy. Yeah, with Saint Vicious joining Curse and the Dignitas changes and things of that sort. As a pro player itself, what do you think about all these switches? Do you think it's actually for the very much better?
I do believe it's better for Curse especially because they'll be getting Saint Vicious who is still gonna play his main role, which is jungling, and he'll be back with Big Daddy elements, I guess. So back to his old teammate. For CLG, I'm not too sure because Hotshot is going to jungle, and Hotshot he don't really train new champions, and you putting him in the jungle, and then now he have to train more champions, and you have to train more different roles. So I'm not too sure how he's going to do, but the next tournament is still a few weeks away, and we have to see how he's going to do. Although they did get the number one, they say as the number one top laner, which is Warboy, so hopefully that helps CLJ a lot.
Well, I mean that is true. I'm to be honest, I'm not very sure about the whole switches and changes over here and there. I can see a few good points, but I guess only time will tell, and like their performance within the next upcoming tournaments will actually see if the switch was actually necessary or not. But for the fact that it's not just the players who just want to switch, but there are other people who are doing analysis and things of that sort. So there must be something for a valid reason why players have been bought over and transferred over to different teams itself on the other side there.
Yeah.
So we have actually approached the 40-over-minute mark at the moment. So like I did mention, this will actually be a shorter podcast due to the quality here. There are certain topics which I did not want to touch about because of the disturbances that we had, but it will be touched on next week itself. This is basically going to conclude the podcast itself. So I once again apologize for all the disturbances, the lags, and other things that's going on at the moment. So thank you so much once again, Don, for coming on the show and talking to us. We will be having you back again, perhaps later in the GPL or even after the GPL, to find out what is your take on it so far. And all the best to your match with Bangkok Titans, which should be really soon itself.
Yeah, half an hour.
in half an hour's time.
Yeah.
So all the best there. I'll definitely be watching and definitely be rooting for you. I'm actually at university right now.
Wow.
And as soon as I'm going to put off this podcast, I'm actually going to walk to the amphitheater. The match is actually going to be shown to the amphitheater. We actually do have quite a bit of people who are actually going to be watching from there itself. So that should be pretty interesting to be out there. So we definitely will be rooting for you from the Malaysian side here. So all the best. Thank you so much, Dan, for coming on. I know you had so much of technical difficulties on your side, but no worries. It was great to have your input there, and we'll definitely have you on more often than this itself. Want to say any last words from the two of you?
Shoutouts to KLH, I guess, and our team manager Leon.
And your team manager Leon out there. Dan, any last words?
Just wanted to apologize for the technical difficulties that I'm having right now. Because
Well,
the connection over here, for me, it's pretty much like laggy. And
okay, it's understandable.
good luck, Dini and KL Hunters, to,
Thanks, man.
break a
Yeah,
leg.
hopefully.
You know what's going to be hilarious? The people are going to be wondering who is Dini now. I'll put out all the names there so that people can actually recognize. So, with this, we'll conclude the podcast. If you guys are wondering why Dan was brought on the podcast, because Dan is one of the main men in Sanctuary itself, with most of the artworks being produced by him itself, and even the cover which you're looking at on the podcast now, the background, it was done by Dan. So great job there, Dan. If you need his services, you can obviously contact him itself there. I definitely approve of his work. It's really good itself there. And
Thanks
if you
for
want
that.
to know no worries. If you want to know the real secret on all of a sudden why Dan is here and that his connection is a little bit off, stay tuned in the next episode where I will bring on the original guest that was supposed to be here, and he will tell you why all of a sudden Dan had to replace him itself there. So thank you once again, both of y'all, for coming along. The topics and all will be in the description there, and this will be episode 4 of the podcast. Thank you all for listening, and thank you all for being on and joining me. See you all. Bye.